Hey everybody, I will get started soon, but this is day 2 of my series for the 5 days, Monday through Friday this week. And it'll be called My Past Does Not Exist. It is an extension of yesterday's, the fear that we talked about. Tomorrow would be the fear of the unknown. And yesterday we talked about feeling lost. So again, this will be the second installment for this week. My past does not exist. Hey, Tisha. I'm gonna wait just another second to see if anybody else hops on and then I'm getting started. I don't like to wait. Hey, Veronica. Sister Foster. And now that you're joining, I just want to let you know as well that we will be talking about My Past Does Not Exist. It is the second installment of a 5-day series that I'm doing. Yesterday was Feeling Lost. Today is My Past Does Not Exist. And tomorrow will be the fear of the unknown. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So my past does not exist. Thank you for sharing it too, Tisha. I appreciate it. So we often look into our past to know how to operate in today and the present. And there's 2 different ways that we can look at this. Obviously, there's much more ways you can look at it. But there's one person that takes a look back and they want to see what God has done for them. So it's a quick look back to say, okay, thank you, God, for doing what you did, but you start to move forward. The other person gets stuck in it and gets stuck in their sins, and they start to get committed to the past that they had, although at this point it does not exist. So we almost commit to it like it's a marriage. We want to nurture it, although it doesn't exist. We want to communicate with it, although it doesn't exist. We want to stick with it, although it doesn't exist. And we kind of start to get in this cycle of living in the past, so it doesn't allow you to do what you need to do now. And the way we should look at it is like that old boyfriend we had or that old girlfriend we had. And you kind of say, you know what? Yeah, I messed up, but I'm going to move on. And that's how we need to look at our sins. Not that, it's okay to sin, but it shouldn't be something that we get stuck in and that we continue to relive the same moments. So one is ready for the future in the present. The other one is allowing the present and the future to pass away because they keep reliving the past. And it's not a healthy place to be in because it allows you to continue to be stressed out. And again, it goes back to my own story, my alcoholism that I went through. And it's just one thing that I will continue to talk about because it's something that was very major for me. I don't know what else could top it. So if I can get out of that, I know anybody can do anything. But for me, to be in a stressed state, thinking about the past sins that I had done and, being sexually immoral before I was married, when I kept reliving that, it was like I got to go to the bottle to get away from that. I got to go to the bottle. I got to change. I can't change my life because I'm still living in my past. So it allows you to be stressed out and do things that you normally wouldn't even do because you continue to revert back to your old past and the old thinking and everything else. So it keeps you stressed out. A lot of times you end up losing weight or gaining weight. You want to give up. You can't perform on your job because pretty much everything that you're thinking of is in the past. So anything that you're doing today, it constantly gets distracted because you can't live within what is actually going on. So how do we start to change that pattern? How do we start to separate the past and the present? Now, here are a few things that will help you do that. So finding value where you are today and what you have learned about yourself. And what I mean by that is when you go through different trials and different struggles, once you get out of them, you pretty much have a better idea of who you are, what you can handle, who God is, who you are. Because once you allow God to show you who you are, that's an even deeper level. And it shows you who you are in a way that now that knowledge can be suited to actually give or to do a purpose. Just like mine, I I gained so much about myself when I was an alcoholic, and now I want to be able to bring other people into the victorious state that I'm in now. So know that you have value in your struggle. There is knowledge in your struggle. And when you allow God to examine you and show you who you are, you can start to take a step forward. And it is not just to show you who you are, just the negative things, but the positive aspects of the different struggles that you've been to as well. And then sometimes you have to ask yourself, why am I thinking these negative thoughts? Am I really over my past? Because a lot of times we say we're over our past, but we really aren't. And one way that it helps me, and I believe it helps other people out, when you can't say it to other people, you can say it to God, but writing it out is so much different, because you can actually write out every single emotion that you have. And that can help you to get over your past. Meeting up with a few girlfriends that are actually in the proper mind state to help you. So whether it's like I did, we had Bible studies, me and a few other girls that helped me kind of accountable to kind of getting out of that type of state of mind and that negative pattern that I was in. So all of these things will hinder you from your future and your present. But we need to make sure we start to have some positive thoughts. So going back to the knowledge and where you are and being able to practice different change and different behaviors in yourself, you have to start preparing your trigger moments. You have to start to understand, what are your trigger moments? If you know that when you talk to a certain friend, they're going to always bring up certain things in your past or things that you have done, don't talk to that friend. You might have to ignore her for a while. You might have to just not answer the phone, or you might have to just say, hey, I'm in a different mind state. I'm trying to get out of the different patterns that I was in before, and the dialogue that we have is just not helpful. So either you can be here to help me, or, I'm going to have to sit back for a second on our friendship and what we're doing. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with giving yourself time. Because once you start to learn your triggers, you start to learn what you should and shouldn't do, and positive triggers too, not just negative ones. So I couldn't just go to the club if I'm trying not to drink. It makes no sense. That's a trigger. If I see people drinking and dancing and having a good time, I want to join in as well. So there's different triggers that we have, and we need to make sure we write those down so we can start to prepare for those, because they're going to come. There's going to be certain things that trigger things from your past, and you have to know how to counteract them. But once you start to really understand who you are, you see the knowledge that you gained, you can say, okay, when I'm in a situation, I know I'm vulnerable to do this, so I'm going to try to stay away from this, that, and the third. There's going to be moments, obviously, where things are going to happen to you, and it is, it's sporadic and random, and it might throw you off. But don't get stuck even in that moment. Continue to keep walking and doing the things that you know you should do to keep that positive thinking. So after you write those things down, you are so much more in control of your thoughts. You're so much more in control of what you're going to do from day to day. That's going to take away from the negative triggers and start to implementing some positive triggers in your life. And then you can start to actually give your past away to God, because it doesn't exist. So some of the positive things that we can do is to read the Bible. Again, that's going to be a part of my message every single time I'm on live. Reading the Bible. It's hard to examine yourself, allow God to examine you. It's hard to get away from your past, understanding your triggers, if you're not feeding yourself with something positive. You're not feeding yourself with something that is concrete in a way that you can move forward. Again, operating your talents and your gifts. Start to develop those. Get up on the Meetup app. There's going to be other people in your area that have the same interests that you do. For me, I have 2 meetups that I go to, and within a month's time, it could be maybe 3 or 4 times that we meet up. And then I'm in a Toastmasters class. So there's other professionals that either want to be speakers or they want to be better at speaking and being more intentional, when they're in a room of people, in a group of people. And then that allows you to start disciplining yourself. So now you have filled up your schedule. So you're reading the Bible, you're developing your talents and your gifts, you're getting up meetup apps and finding other people that, that have similar ideas that you have. You're doing a Toastmasters class. You're doing so many different things now that are pretty much taking up all of your time. So you don't have time to keep reliving the past. You don't have time to keep thinking about the things that were so negative in your past, because now you're being productive. You're actually doing things on a day-to-day basis that is going to start to entertain your future and your purpose and what God is giving you. So before you know it, your schedule is filled up, your week is filled up. You don't have time for all the craziness that everybody brings. You don't have time to put yourself in anything that's going to revert you back to your past. And you can finally start to say that my past actually does not exist. It is only a place for me to look back and see what God has done for me, not for me to get stuck in it and to live in it and to wallow in it, because it gets you nowhere. It gets you nowhere in your present and gets you nowhere in your future. So we have to start to live purposefully. And the only way we can do that is to allow God to examine us, understand our triggers, what gets us back to those moments, and then finding positive triggers. So when we do read the Bible in the morning, that means, oh, okay, my day is going to go a little bit better. You know, when I'm working on my talents and gifts, I feel so much better about myself and about life. So again, these are some easy, practical steps that any of you guys can do to get yourself from your past, because it doesn't exist. It isn't there anymore. And you can live in your present that does exist, so that you can change your future and you can change the narrative of your story. Thank you guys for coming in. This is day 2. Tomorrow we'll be talking about the fear of the unknown. Because once you start to understand that your past doesn't exist and you're going into your purpose, a lot of times people don't understand how to get there and they feel like it's unknown to them. So please come back for the fear of the unknown, the 3rd installment of my series. Talk to you guys soon.